What's happening, guys? Lucky here from Anime Casuals, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. You know, we usually talk about all the things that we're thankful for, and one thing that I was thankful for after Thanksgiving was over was that Mobile Suit Gundam was streaming on FUNimation. Now, if you're unfamiliar, this is the original Gundam series, and there have been a lot of different, very good sequels. Now, I first got introduced to this particular season of Gundam by the games. I played everything from Journey to Jaburo, Encounters in Space, and Federation vs. Zeon. I played a lot of Federation vs. Zeon. I ended up finally getting a chance to watch it on Kiss Anime, rest in peace, and I wanted to rewatch it because I felt like I kinda just rushed through it, which I did, and I only got to see it subbed, which in the video games everything was dubbed and had some great voice talent.
I keep thinking about the humans inside these machines, but I know I can handle this.
If you recognize that voice, it's because it's the very same as Light Yagami from Death Note, Mr. Brad Swale, and he did a great job capturing a very frightened young man turned military ace for the Earth Federation, Amuro Ray. You see, war broke out ever since the Principality of Zeon broke off from the Earth Federation, and both sides were desperate, meaning that they even used children as soldiers. I mean, it's crazy. I had to do some digging, some casual research, if you will, so if I get this wrong, let me know in the comments, but there's not really anyone in the crew that's over 21 unless Slager is, but he joins the crew later in the series. Either way, the captain of the ship, Bright Noah, is 19, the woman who mans the steering, Mirai Yashima, is 18, and everyone is pretty much around that age. The age of the characters is important because when they go up against Char Aznable, by the way, he might be appearing in a top 5 coming soon, who is known as the Red Comet by his colleagues, but also his enemies, it becomes clear that they lack any actual military combat experience. Char is hands down one of my favorite villains just because he's able to think a couple steps ahead of the White Base, the ship that Amuro and crew is on, and is even able to fight on par with Amuro's Gundam, which is a far superior model to anything that the Zeon have made. Mobile Suit Gundam has that charming old-school anime feel, and it was actually released over 40 years ago in 1979, which is crazy because I loved the animation, and even though there are some recycled cuts,
I'll stop you!
A few moments later.
Behind you! Fly up!
and some inconsistent frame rates, every now and then, the story and the characters always brought me back whenever I got unimmersed by little things like that. Now, one other thing I'd like to mention is the vast amount of names in this series. Now, this is just from my account of watching it, but it was crazy to me that each one of these Zeon soldiers had a name and were usually respected by at least one of the main antagonists. It made it feel as though an actual person died, instead of a random Zeon soldier in a Zaku, the mobile suit shown here. It was someone who had a name, which means he had a story and a life he was leaving behind, which gets me to my final point on Gundam, which is the gravity of war. I never really thought a series surrounding gigantic mechs beating the crap out of each other would have such a realistic take on war, but it really does. You feel the hopelessness when supplies are scarce, or even when people mutiny. You see the panic in the young, inexperienced soldiers' eyes as they witness battle for the first time, and the nightmares that come with it. It actually makes you want this war to end, just as much as they do, because you start to care for each of the shipmates, but the villains as well. You see that each side has bad people that are taking advantage of the chaos of war to do whatever they want, but you also see that there are good people on both sides that truly have a sense of honor, and there is even care not to harm civilians and children, which, in the beginning, is mostly what White Base is made of. And there you guys have it. I tried to make this analysis as non-spoilery as I could, so you can go watch Mobile Suit Gundam for yourself. I know the graphics take a little getting used to, but if you let it, this series could take you to a world of fantastical space battles and deep reflection on the human psyche. As always, guys, don't forget to comment down below and let us know either what you thought of the series or what Gundam series is your favorite. Maybe I can do a video on that. Don't forget, guys, to keep it casual.